Oh, this is gonna be crazy. That was great. Alright, hello everyone and welcome to another episode of SpraynPray1000's Verdict. I am SpraynPray1000 and today we are going to be reviewing the latest in a long line of FPS games, Call of Duty Ghosts, okay? So Call of Duty Ghosts is the... What am I... I feel I'm having deja vu because I just did the Battlefield 4 review and it kind of opened like this too. But Call of Duty Ghosts is a first-person shooter. As I said before in Battlefield 4, pretty much most first-person shooters play pretty similarly. You have your stance change button. You can sprint, shoot, aim down sight, throw grenades, melee, that sort of thing. They all play the same. So obviously the gameplay aspects of this review are pretty much going to be copy-paste from 5 other reviews that I've already done. So, what exactly is Call of Duty Ghosts? Call of Duty Ghosts is what I guess they're trying to make as a new series in the Call of Duty lines of games. First we had the Black Ops line of games, and then, well, first we had the Modern Warfare line of games, and now we have the Black Ops line of games, and here we are today with the Ghost line, which is the first, and I guess was going to be 2 or 3 games in the Ghost trilogy, or however many games there are. Call of Duty Ghosts takes place in a world where America has been devastated by some massive event, and basically global power has shifted, okay? And now America is no longer a superpower. There is this superpower, however, called the Federation that seeks to basically assimilate America and basically take them over. And now what is left of their armed forces, or what was left of the American armed forces, have joined together basically to stop this. And there's also this elite group of soldiers known as the Ghosts. Basically, some of the most vicious and well-trained personnel that America could make. And they're basically their last line of defense. So, Call of Duty Ghosts, basically, before we should even start, this game is actually based off of a character that was in Modern Warfare 2. His name was Ghost. And while he doesn't appear in this game because canonically he's dead, he does actually, basically this whole game, you know, the thematics of this game are based off of him. So the Ghosts are based off of Ghost. They even wear the same balaclavas, I believe I want to say, or the same face masks. You know, it's pretty much the same thematic thing. What else is there? And there's actually a dog named after him with his real name. And pretty much, for the most part, this game plays similarly to just about every other Call of Duty in the bag. In fact, I'll be pretty honest, it plays exactly like Modern Warfare 2. Now, what they did do with this game, with the story, of course, is that they did actually take this opportunity to basically make good on some of the promises that they made back in Modern Warfare 2. So for Modern Warfare 2, the fans were promised a level in space and a level underwater, you know, to diversify the gameplay. Ultimately, what those levels ended up being were sequences where all you could do was look around and, you know, look at different directions, and there was no actual combat. Well, Ghost takes a step further and actually gives you one or two underwater levels, and then 2 levels in space. Okay, not bad, you know what I mean? Like, they're giving back to the fans. Of course, the space level is just riddled with inaccuracies, but it's the thought more that counts than anything. And some of the stuff might be able to be explained away. Others really can't be. So, moving on besides that, what did I think about the campaign? And I'm going to try and keep this review short because I want to go on and do other stuff. What did I think about the campaign? I thought that the campaign, which is typically the part of a Call of Duty game that I enjoy the most, was this year pretty disappointing. It kind of felt like what they wanted to do is they wanted to take some of the plot devices from other Call of Duty games and implement them into this COD game. And what ended up happening is that you ended up with a very, very weird mix. Like, you've got a main villain who is kind of like the main villain from Black Ops 2, although ironically, not as lovable, not as likable. I really couldn't, integrate myself too well, and a very shitty revenge plot line. And a lot of times there's plot holes that they really don't explain in the story. And it's just pretty much plug and chug is what I'll say. You just pretty much, with the thing about Infinity War campaigns is they're either very boring and long, or they're interesting and short. So Modern Warfare 3 was, I'd say, about the perfect length, okay? Maybe one or two more missions rectifying what happened with some of the other characters, that kind of just got left away or thrown away. Maybe that would have been fine. But for the most part, Modern Warfare 3's campaign was just about the perfect length, 4 to 5 hours. They don't give you any of these long, annoying missions, that just seem to take forever and contribute nothing to the story. They didn't do that in Modern Warfare 3, and I think that actually helped them out, because they did that in Modern Warfare 2, they did that in COD 4, and I just felt like that at some points the game was just boring. And in this game, they tried to go for a short campaign, but it didn't have the exact same sweetness as Modern Warfare 3's campaign did. So I don't exactly understand where they went wrong with that, but the campaign was a very, very miserable disappointment, I feel. Considering, and I kind of knew last year when I played Black Ops 2, I said to myself, what was that campaign, like 6 to 7 hours, and it was interesting. I kind of said, Call of Duty is never going to top this. This is going to be the best COD campaign I'll ever play, and then that'll be it. But I didn't expect a campaign to be this disappointing. So I was not too enthralled with this campaign. I was not feeling it. It was pretty boring, and after a little bit, it just kind of set in. And, I just wanted to beat it to get it over with and move on to the next thing. Nothing really to go back too much for. Basically, the story of it seems to be very lackluster and reused from other COD games, and not even reused in the good sense. It's just that they kind of felt like they wanted to mold the story, and they didn't want it to have any of its own identity. So, didn't like that. The multiplayer, of course, is kind of, it's hit or miss, okay? The multiplayer, they basically did the one thing I thought they couldn't do in a Call of Duty game. They lowered the health even more. What I do like, however, are the big maps. I do like the big maps. I do think some of the guns are interesting. I do think the new gun classifications are pretty interesting. But it kind of loses its appeal. Now, this is coming from someone who, when Modern Warfare 3 came out, I ended up playing something like some ridiculous amount of multiplayer on the first week. I was already second prestige within a week. And now I don't even have the motivation to touch this game. And it's by the same studio too. I don't understand it. So multiplayer, didn't enjoy that too much. I think that at this point, COD feels like it's being played out. It's kind of, both these trilogies. You had the World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2 trilogy, and then you had the COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3 trilogy. And now that they've all kind of naturally concluded, now it kind of feels like, where do they intend to take this franchise from here? Is it like what's the benefit of keeping it alive? Personally, to me, I didn't see the same value I saw in Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2. I don't see that in this game. And the multiplayer, I think they kind of go back to the COD 4 where it takes a long time to level up. And I mean, it's interesting, but at the same time, I think that it's kind of a mixture between COD 4 and the later CODs, which is kind of not too great because you have, wide open maps and a long, diverse multiplayer line. And then you have instances where you just have no health, and the maps are, the spawning is kind of messed up, and it's just like, well, that doesn't help. That kind of is a very awkward mix, you know what I mean? And of course, there's problems up the ass on the PC from what I hear. I played this on the Xbox 360, so I'm talking about the 7th generation version of this game. Apparently, there's problems up the ass on PC, so this game is just like failing on all fronts. Now, what I will say is, the extinction mode is pretty interesting. It's kind of like zombies, but it's more of a campaign-style feel to it. I think the extinction mode can be something that, can be played multiple times again and again with friends, the diverse lineup of customizing your actual character. I think that that's pretty interesting. I think that can go somewhere. So that's actually probably my favorite part of this game is the extinction game mode, because it's like zombies, but unlike zombies, I think it's a bit more fair to the player. So I think that in its own regard is pretty interesting. But unfortunately, it can't redeem the whole package. Unfortunately, it doesn't save COD Ghosts. COD Ghosts kind of dies, I feel, in my opinion, because I have no desire to continue playing the game, really, unless I have friends on it. So, again, in keeping this review very short, not much to say about it. Call of Duty Ghosts, a letdown, a disappointment, a step in the wrong direction for a company that wants to try and knock over GTA 5 and reclaim its sales records. A complete horrible first step. Infinity Ward has dropped the ball, I feel. And this is without jumping on just the pure raw hatred of COD bandwagon. I don't do that. For me, I don't jump on bandwagons anymore. I formulate my own opinions. The validity of a game now can be determined just by how big the bandwagon is. Or the validity of a bandwagon is determined by how big it is. And I just don't agree with that at all. I believe that COD Ghost and every other game should stand on its own merits and what it actually does. And in this case, it's no good. This is a no-show. This is kind of like, they released it to release it. They didn't really put, anything special, any zing to really spice it up. And that's rather disappointing, I feel. I feel that they could have done something really great, and they had the opportunity. They had the 2 years to basically research what they were going to do and really implement it and really make it fun, and they kind of dropped the ball. And I don't feel like, I don't foresee them changing that in any time. They got rid of a lot of classic multiplayer modes, which is this weird thing they've been doing with COD games. They get rid of all the game modes that have been with COD for so long, and it's like, why? Why do you do that? And they also constantly... The thing is, what I liked about COD 4, what I liked about pretty much every Call of Duty up until, Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2, is that, well, not even that, just what I liked about some of the older CODs is that, when you have these multiplayer maps, they're based off of locations from the story, and you actually get to play as a lot of the teams from the story. In this COD game, there are only 2 teams, because, I don't know, the story only really had 2 teams. And it's kind of weird, a lot of times they introduce multiple teams, multiple factions, so, you get a complicated story going on, and here it's just kind of like they just didn't care. And I'm literally scratching my head right now. It's just like, I don't understand how that works. Like, where did they take this wrong step? I don't know. And it's disappointing. It really is. I feel that for a franchise that I've, played for so long and I've enjoyed for so long, this is uncharacteristically bad. So enough of that. There's nothing really good to compliment here. It's just averageness and then poorness. It's just a very destructive of the COD regime or the COD reputation. And I feel that this game, I can't say, the campaign was stellar like I did with Black Ops 2, or, overall I enjoyed, just about every part of this game. I can't really say that. All I can really say is Extinction is worth a look. Multiplayer might be fun if you have friends, and then that's kind of it. So ultimately, COD Ghosts, what do I give it? I give it a 73 out of 100. It pretty much does exactly what Gears of War Judgment does, except on different levels. I'm disappointed. It feels more like a cash-in. Like all these franchises, they basically complete their trilogy, and then they don't know where to go from there. It's a natural progression, in threes. Like, you have an intro, a middle, and a conclusion to something. And maybe you have a couple spin-off games, but then after that, a lot of these franchises, they don't know where to go once they hit 4. They don't know because they were only supposed to go to 3, and then they go to 3, and then that's it, and then they don't know where to go from there. We had the Modern Warfare line go from COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, conclusion. We had the Black Ops line go from World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, conclusion. That was it. And now I don't know what Infinity Ward plans to do, because this campaign already starts on a weak sauce note, riddled with inaccuracies and plot holes. Multiplayer is still in a decline, I feel, from Black Ops 2. And, at least the other game mode is pretty decent. So, disappointing. I wish there could be something more to this game, but a 73 is what I'll give it. Uncharacteristically low, whereas most of the COD games I'll review would get high 80s, low 90s. This game gets a very low score, and it's unfortunate. So, I'm going to move on now. I'm going to go do something else, maybe try out a new game or two. And hopefully this review is informative. What would I say on a buy wait, rent, skip? I say this game is probably a weird mix between rent, wait, or skip. You might want to just skip it and not waste any money on it. You might want to wait and see if the price goes down, or you might want to rent it. I don't know. That's up to you. That's your call. I'd say wait. Wait for the price to go down. Wait for something to happen. Wait for it to become easier to, or, wait for that. But then again, that might take a long time because let's not forget, Call of Duty's a big franchise. They know that people are going to buy it just because it's a name brand. So like Mario, like Halo, like all these other franchises, they don't have to lower the score or lower the price anytime soon. So see what happens with it, ladies and gentlemen. I leave you with that. Coming from a very disappointed Infinity Ward fan, I've loved their games for so long, and now it kind of feels like they've dropped the ball here. So unfortunate, but it is what it is.